Hey, this is Zach with the School of Design, Architecture, and Art tutor team. Today I'm going to be going over placing curtain walls in Revit by working on this original model that I made for the Introduction to Revit video. It's pretty basic, and I think I'm going to be wanting to place a curtain wall along here out to this rooftop patio, so that it could be something like a patio like you might have on your home where you have the glass floor-to-ceiling door, or the panels, with a sliding door or just a glass door opening out to the panel or the patio out here. So curtain walls, the name kind of implies, and if you're in your structures class you'll have learned this, they're not structural walls, they're hung from the structure, so the wall in this case. And so you shouldn't be using them on their own to frame a building, you should rather be embedding them into walls so that your building can still support itself. And so to do that I'm going to go to my level 2 view where I'm going to be wanting to draw these curtain walls, and I'm going to click on wall, and in the properties tab I'm going to scroll down to curtain wall and select that. And then I'm going to just draw it and place this like I would any other door or any other wall. So I'll draw that from there to there, and it's going to give me a warning, Revit's going to give me a warning that these walls are overlapping, and in 3D view you can't see this curtain wall yet because it's clipping in between or inside this structural wall that I have here. So to make that visible in my level 2 view, I'm going to go to the Modify tab, I'm going to select Cut Geometry, and what I want to do is select first the wall that I want to cut into, so this generic wall here that I've placed in this project, and I'm going to cut it with this curtain wall that I just placed. So I'll click and then click again, and then when I go to my 3D view, you can see that I have this glass curtain wall here that is placed there. Currently my settings for the wall were unconnected height, and it was only going up to the height of these parapet walls here, and so to change that I'm just going to switch the top constraint in the wall properties to top of level 2, or up to level roof rather. So there we go, now it goes up to as high as I want it to be. And you'll notice that this is just kind of one single glass sheet, and most curtain walls when you have them, like at your house, you'll notice that they have like aluminum grids going through them to kind of frame each individual glass panel, because realistically manufacturers don't make glass panels this large. So to make that the way we want it to be, I'm going to select the wall, I'm going to go to Edit Type in the Properties tab, and it'll bring up these options for me, and you'll see vertical grid and horizontal grid, and that's what I want to edit to add these grids. So the vertical grid is obviously going to be your vertical grid lines going this way, so like that would frame the sides of a glass piece, and your horizontal grid is going to be what would be like, you know, horizontal grid lines going upwards. So for this I'm just going to do a vertical grid, and it'll give me these options for fixed distance between each grid, or fixed number of grids per wall, or maybe maximum or minimum spacing. So let's say I want to do minimum spacing, and let's set that to, let's just go with 4 feet, that's fine. So I'll click apply, and you'll notice that it gives me these curtain wall panels that are at minimum 4 feet apart from each other. They're probably not, because the wall it's not an exact length, and it might not be an exact multiple of 4. So what I want to do now is you'll notice that these are going to kind of be like, it's just glass panels, there's no aluminum framing them. So if I want to add the mullions, what I can do is go back to that properties tab I was in and go to Edit Type, and there's another option here for vertical and horizontal mullions. And since I just have this vertical grid, I'm going to select interior type and switch that. Let's do a 1.5 by 2.5 inch rectangular mullion, and click apply, and you'll see that it applies it then to my wall. And so then the border 1 type, that's going to be the edge of the wall, so I'll just make both this border 1 and border 2 the same type of mullions. Let's do 1.5 by 2.5 inch and 1.5 and 2.5 inch. So I'll click apply, click OK, and now you'll see that I have these mullions in each spot framing and holding together these glass panels. What I am missing though is mullion pieces along this bottom and this top wall here. So if I want to add those, and maybe I don't want to do it in my properties tab, what I can do is go to my architecture tab, go to mullion, and then I can select in the properties tab which mullion I want to place. So I'll do that same 1.5 by 2.5 inch rectangular mullion. And then when I mouse over where I want to place it against the grid lines, in this case the edge of the glass wall, I can just click where it's highlighting in blue and it'll add it for me. So I'll do that there and there. So now we have this glass curtain wall with nicely framed panels that make sense for it, but we don't have a door going out to this patio, and that's what I do want to do. So one problem I have is there's no door, but another problem is that these panels that I want to turn into doors are going to be too big to be a door in real life. So to fix that problem, what I'm going to want to do is go to my architecture tab, and I can go to curtain grid, and since most doors are going to be about 3 by 7 feet rather than whatever this is, probably like 4 by 10, what I can do is go to one segment because I just want to be adding a single segment, not a whole line across there. And you'll notice when I mouse over this, it's pretty faint, but you can see that it's drawing just a faint line where it's going to draw that mullion grid for me. So I'm going to want to make this about 7 feet off the ground here on probably this central panel here. So I'll select here and find until that bottom measurement is about 7 feet up. It's right there, and it adds the grid line for me. But this is still too wide, so I'm going to do the same thing, except now to add a vertical grid, I'm going to mouse along this bottom piece here. And so let's do, looks like this is about 4.5 feet wide, and I want the door to be about 3 feet wide, so let's just go with this 3-foot one, so I'll click there. I'm just going to say that the mullions between the panels being joined will be deleted, and that's because it's only going up halfway, and it's going to get rid of this bit, because I only did one segment. But the properties of this curtain wall that I laid out, in the properties it's going to make vertical grids for me, because I didn't set the horizontal grid, so that's why I didn't put one here, but it did place a vertical mullion grid here. So that's fine, I'll click delete element, and then I want to add a mullion grid at the top of this here, so I'll click there, and now we've got a frame for where we want to put our door right there. So the first thing I want to do before I place this door, however, is get rid of this individual mullion here, because I'm not going to want a mullion like holding the door in place and like blocking it from moving inwards and outwards. So what I can do to select that is first click on it, and then just press delete on my keyboard, and it's gone for me. Perfect. So now to place this door here, rather than going into my architecture tab and clicking door and trying to draw a door on this wall, you'll notice that Revit doesn't even really want me to do that right now. It's not letting me try and select and place the door in this curtain wall, and that's because curtain wall doors don't work like your regular doors. It's not a frame with a door, it's framed within the glass itself. So to add a door, I'm going to go to modify, and I'm going to mouse over this curtain wall here as close as I can get. And right now Revit is selecting this entire wall for me rather than just this individual panel. And if I want to select just that individual panel on my keyboard, I can press tab, and I'll press tab again and again and again until I can get it to select just that panel. Had to move my mouse a little bit to get it closer to the grid so it would select it. But now you can see that it's highlighting that panel. So I'm going to click that, and then what I'm going to do is in this properties tab over here where it says system panel glazed, I'm going to go to edit type. I'm going to load, and it's going to bring up this English Imperial library full of all your components that you can load, and we're going to go to doors, because this is still a door, but it's not going to be a commercial, hardware, or residential type of thing. It's going to be what you have in this just main selection here. So let's do a door, curtain wall, single glass. I'll open that, and I will click OK to load that in. And it should be there. You can't really see it though, because in my properties tab on the detail level that we're viewing in this 3D view is only medium. So if I switch that to fine instead, now you can see a door handle there, and you can see that that's a door. So on my level 2 view, you can see that the door is opening right there, and let's have it open outwards. There. So to recap, we went over how curtain walls aren't structural, they should be embedded and cut into the wall that you were building in Revit. We learned how to edit the properties tab to give them grids and manually add mullions and grid lines to them, as well as adding mullions to them in the properties tab. And we worked on individually selecting a panel, switching the type of panel to a door rather than using a door placement in the architecture tab. And I hope that all of this can be helpful for you in your own projects in the future.